Hello, third graders. Today in Positive Action, we are going to review the term self-concept. Self-concept. Now, last week when we had Positive Action, we talked about an open clapper and a closed clapper. Now, we can control all of our positive and negative actions. So if we are having a positive action, that means it's open. Our clapper is open and we are good to go to keep rolling, just like they do in the movies. If we are doing a negative action, that means we have to cut it and stop it right away. We have to notice that it's a negative action, stop that action, and then do a different action. Today we're going to read a story called All in the Family and think about self-concept. Now before we start reading, I want you to think about what self-concept means. We know that self means I, and concept is how you think. So for a definition of what self-concept means, it is how, the same one that's in here, we think about and feel about ourselves. As we read the story, I want you to think about characters that have self-concept and what they think and feel about themselves, and maybe about how you think and feel about yourself. Let's begin. All in the family. "Try again, Billy boy, you can do it," Billy's father said. Billy smiled and climbed the ladder next to the trampoline. He was the youngest member of the Galindos, a circus family of tumblers and acrobats. He and his father had been working all afternoon on a new stunt, this family's circus act. Billy stood on the platform at the top of the ladder. It was 20 feet above the ground. He could see his mother and his sisters, Brenda and Caroline, looking up at him. They looked so small up there, he thought to himself. His knees began to shake, and he could feel his heart pounding, even though he had practiced 100 times. "Come on, Billy boy," his father said softly. "I'm right here for you." Billy looked at his father's face, smiling up at him, and he felt more relaxed. He took a deep breath and then jumped to the trampoline below. Right when he hit it, he bounced up high and his body curled into a perfect somersault. He grabbed his knees and then straightened in midair. A fraction of a second later, he landed, standing on his father's shoulders. His dad grabbed onto Billy's leg. "Yeah, Billy!" Everybody clapped and cheered. "I did it!" Billy said with a grin as his father dropped him down to the ground. "I finally did it." "Of course you did, honey," his mother said. "You're going to be the most famous Galindo of all." Billy felt warm with pride. The Galindo family had been circus performers for generations. His grandfather was still known as the world's greatest acrobat. Then, even though he didn't perform anymore, all members of the family had their own parts in the act. Billy did handstands, cartwheels, and somersaults. He was good at his tricks and could somersault through hoops and over barricades. But he began to desire a challenge. He wanted to do something more difficult. When Billy's father had finally said he was ready to try a new stunt, Billy was so excited he could hardly wait to begin. It had been hard work. Sometimes he performed perfectly. Other times, he landed in the net instead of his father's shoulders. Once he almost missed the trampoline when he jumped. He had begun to wonder if he would ever be able to do it in front of an audience. But his grandfather had reassured him, "Don't worry, Billy, you'll be fine. You just have to believe in yourself. We know you can do it. And now we finally had it down. His grandfather had been right. His father decided he was ready to perform the stunt for the audience in his Saturday show. When Saturday came and Billy put on his costume, his stomach had butterflies. "Wait a minute, Billy," his mother said. "Caroline and Brenda had something for you." His sisters handed him a large box. "This is for you, Billy," Caroline said. "We wanted you to have this tonight." Billy opened the box. There was a beautiful, sparkling blue costume covered with shiny sequins. "Wow!" he gasped. I may not be the most famous Galindo tonight, but I will be the best dressed." His beautiful sisters, dressed in their own flashy and glittering attire, looked doubtful, but the whole family laughed. Billy felt better already. Now the ringmaster's voice could be heard over the loudspeakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, direct your attention to the center ring, where the amazing Galindo will perform their daring acrobatics for you." The music started, and the Galindos ran out into the spotlight. The family went through their tumbling routine. Then the music stopped, and a drum roll began. Billy climbed the platform. His sparkling costume flashed in the spotlight. He didn't hesitate. Billy jumped from the platform. His sparkling costume flashed in the spotlight. The audience cheered and clapped, and Billy bowed proudly. Backstage, everyone hugged and kissed him. "Way to go, Billy! We knew you could do it!" Billy smiled. At that moment, surrounded by his family, he knew he was the happiest Galindo. Now here are a couple of questions. Thinking about self-concept, what Billy thought about himself. What did Billy's family do to make him feel so good? What kind of things did they say? Why was Billy afraid when he was about to go to do the trick at the beginning of the story? Why was he so scared? Was Billy more confident at the end of the story? How do you know? How did Billy's family help him have courage? Courage means that you have the ability to do something very scary. It's a synonym for brave. What had Billy been taught that helped him have courage? Billy's sisters gave him a present. How did it help with his self-confidence? How did it help him think about how he thinks about himself? Did you think Billy had a good self-concept? And how did you know? Now this week, we're going to focus on believing in yourself. And here's a little poster of kind of what Billy looked like when he had to jump off and then land on his father's shoulders. Believing in yourself is a way to have a positive self-concept. If you believe that you can ride your bike, then it makes you a better bike rider. If you are playing a sport, let's say baseball, and you believe that you are going to hit that ball, it gives you more confidence and more courage to hit that ball. Whenever you're doing something scary, you need to think about your self-concept, what you think about yourself, because that can help whatever you are trying to do. For this assignment, answer the questions. You can use a voice note to answer them, and then you can go on to the next assignment.